They opened the gate, and that's when, in a blink of an eye, things changed. I remember a pop sound going off, and in my mind I was thinking, I just broke my back.
His name is Braxten Nielsen.
I think everybody wants to grow up and be a cowboy, right?
Braxten Nielsen is your cowboy. Former Union Cougar right here, getting ready to ride.
Started off a little different. I was 22, where I climbed kind of in the amateur level pretty fast, which helped me get a scholarship at Weber State University, and I transferred to the College of Southern Idaho.
I told him, you know what, Braxten, there truly isn't a doubt in my mind that you can go all the way, but why?
Braxten was always interested in the rodeo. He loved the idea of it. He came down and got on some steers, even got on a few bulls, and was in love with it. His mom and dad were not in love with the idea of it whatsoever.
And he's close. Your cowboy of Roosevelt, Utah.
Body does take a beating, and you have to be able to perform 3 nights in a row. It teaches you how to be tough. You got to compete with the bruises, the pains, and just like life, you got to keep going through life with the bumps and the bruises. You can't stop.
Braxten makes the college finals, and he's starting to ride professionally, and you know he's 6-8 months away from being an NFR contender.
I was climbing the standings in the wilderness circuit. Still had a lot to learn, and I'd like to think that, man, I was progressing to make it to one of the elite level. I'd still like to think that, but it doesn't matter what I think. Life happens. I was the first cowboy out. They come up and said, Braxten, you're going to start us off tonight, so good luck. I was jacked. I was excited. Had a really awesome horse drawn. I remember being really excited for the opportunity to kind of perform at an awesome rodeo. I climbed over the buck and chute, got my hand set in my rigging handle like I've done 100 times, You nod your head, or you say, I always say, let her buck. They open the gate, and that's when, in a blink of an eye, things change. As the gate opened up, Sozo reared up and lost the traction kind of her back feet. I remember my shoulder blades hitting the back of the chute, and this horse's mane kind of hit me in the face.
And if you can imagine, the wall of that buck and chute is steel, and just fold him in half.
And my feet, everything just kind of shut down. The gate's open, Sozo gets back to her feet, and as she leaves, all I could think was get your hand out of the rigging.
Comes out of the chute, and you can tell immediately he's hurt. He's still on the horse.
And I tried reaching up, trying to pop my hand out of the rig, and it finally gave, and I did a little flip, and I remember landing on the ground. I couldn't move sitting there, and I remember waving at my buddies behind the chute like, hey, help me, I'm hurt, something's wrong. And panic mode went in. As they were moving my shafts off my leg, they kind of twisted my leg a little bit, and it must have hit a nerve or something, and it felt like a lightning bolt hit me between the ears in my back. That's when the pain started, and I really knew something was wrong. My T12 was totally shattered. The L1 was dislocated, vertebrae, and my spinal cord was pinched off severely. And that's when they made the decision of where to send me, and they sent me to the U of U hospital in Salt Lake City.
When the surgeon actually did come out, I think it was 5.5 hour surgery, she come and let us know how everything went, and she was very upbeat and positive. I remember asking her, I said, is he going to walk again? She said maybe 5% chance that he'd walk again, and I felt like I got kicked by a horse.
What I do remember after the accident would be my dad's voice in this hospital room and my mom's voice. They were talking, and I could kind of hear things, kind of like a dream you have, I wasn't quite with it. I went to lift my legs to kind of help me to rock myself up. And when my legs didn't lift up, then that's when I really started panicking, yelling for my dad. And my dad showed up above me as I'm laying in this bed. And I couldn't really feel my legs. I couldn't lift them. I'm like, Dad, hey, did the doctors take my legs? And he's like looking at me all composed. I mean, like it wasn't a big deal. And he's, yeah, bud, the doctors took your legs. I started telling my mom and dad, why'd you let him take my legs? Why'd you let him take them? My mom, bless her heart, she's crying at the bottom of my bed, lifts up my feet, says, hey, your feet are, they're right here. So my dad's kind of laughing, and he finally got serious with him, and he's like, Brax, hey, your legs are there, buddy, you're fine. And he took my arms, kind of squoze them, and said, you feel that? I said, yeah, Dad, I can feel that. He says, yeah, you can see me. Buddy, you're still alive. You're gonna be a little different, but we got it, buddy. Be all right. And Dad's one of my heroes for sure. And then that 5th day is when I met my physical therapist team and got to get down into therapy and go to work. This therapist comes in to my room. First therapist I encountered. Brings this wheelchair to the edge of my bed. I grab this therapist by the collar of his shirt. I'm like, hey, listen to me, before we go down to therapy, I need you to believe me that I'm walking out of this hospital. I have less than a 5% chance, but I've got a chance. And more than anything, I do remember, I wanted the therapist to know, like, if you're gonna be my coach, I want you to believe in me. I'm gonna give it all, so believe in me. We had a hometown football game Friday night, and the fans all had a Braxten Tough shirt, and I was number 3 in basketball, football, baseball in high school, They all had a number 3 on there. The whole football team had a number 3. And they had a big prayer circle for me out on the field. With under 24 hours, this community came together, and it showed a lot of belief in me. And it was like, man, if they believe in me that much, how could I not believe in myself?
Never take a day off.
So the day that I was getting ready to leave the hospital, Miss Emily actually my therapist came up to my room and helped me, in my wheelchair down to the bottom, and says, we're gonna walk down the hall and out of the hospital together. She helps me out of this wheelchair and hands me a walker. And, we're getting ready to turn the corner and walk down this hallway that takes us outside. And as I come around the corner, it was neat. I had some family members, but then a bunch of surgeons and the nurses and the physical therapists that have been by my side the whole 2.5 months I was at the hospital lining the halls.
Man, it's so incredible. He worked so hard.
We met at his cousin's wedding. I was a bridesmaid for my friend that married his cousin, and we saw each other there. And
I really thought she was a beautiful gal.
on our first date, he came and picked me up, and he drove 2.5 hours to come get me. And on the way out to pick me up, he stopped and pulled over and grabbed a catheter out of the car. And I remember being like, what is that?
She didn't know. She thought I had a weird walk, maybe, I had I always call it God-given swagger, is what it is.
I remember our first dance on our wedding night.
She kind of laughed and just said, hey, thanks for working so hard that you're dancing with me. You don't need to ride bucking horses. You can just dance with me. So it's pretty rewarding. I was able to climb back in a saddle on a tame horse quicker than I was able to walk. And whether the doctor liked it or not, I guess I thought it was my therapy. 2 years ago now, entered an amateur rodeo in Santa Quin, Utah. And was able to actually win the rodeo in the bareback ride and retired.
I think it really helped him move on, just to do that one last time.
And now I'm able to team rope, and I love being a team rope. I didn't know if I was for sure going to be able to have kids or not. And that little girl is better than any rodeo, Just ride Mojo and Rooster. That little girl is a rodeo. He'll just come down. She's a miracle. She makes me strive to be a better person every day. Jada, that's what life's about, is being able to have those experiences with my daughter and my wife. Yeah, she is a miracle.